Hey everyone, it's another episode of Bizarre Ones Podcast, and this is the season finale for season 1 of the podcast. After that, there won't be any episodes for a while, and probably until next year, if you will. So this is the season finale, and then we'll start up again next year. I'm your host, Kai.
And I'm the other host, Tonya Kitsune. I'm also in this video, or I guess it's not a video, audio recording. You get it. I'm also in this podcast.
And, of course, I'm your other host, Diamond Ash, so let's jump into it.
So this first story, if you will, this small gecko from the Mediterranean region was found its way onto the Channel island of Guernsey after stowing away in a traveler's suitcase, if you will, is what the local animal rescue thing said. So the Guernsey Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals believes that the reptile is a Tarantola maritanicana, or a common wall gecko from the western Mediterranean. The BBC reported that a traveler found the gecko in their suitcase while unpacking after arriving from Portugal's island. The GPCA said it took the lizard and has it in quarantine since it's not native to that area. Also, because it would be difficult to return the gecko back to its native islands, the society has decided to find a home for it closer to home. The manager, Steve Byrne, said, "We really don't know how we're going to have to help or arrive in, Guernsey. The society has named the gecko Rosie." But yeah, I guess apparently this gecko was in this person's suitcase, and they don't even know how it got in this suitcase, and it's not native to that region, if you will.
So, guys, speaking on an animal story, I got one for you, if you will. This raccoon stole a package from this New York porch, if you will. So the raccoon is like a porch pirate.
Wait, so the raccoon is a porch pirate. The raccoon went and stole this person's item that was on a porch then.
Yep. This person, this New York resident's home security system captured the moment a package was stolen from the porch by a masked porch pirate, a raccoon. The Plattsburgh resident said the chewy box, which contained $93 worth of pet food meant to be returned, had been left in a bin on the porch to be picked up by the FedEx. And a local raccoon had other plans. The security camera caught the footage as the hungry animal shredded the box and feasted on its contents. The resident said the camera also recorded the raccoon returning on the subsequent nights to check the mail bin for more edible goods. They said Chewy understood the situation and still issued a refund. And the interesting fact is a Texas resident also faced a similar situation in 2024 when a box of cookies delivered to their front door became a treat for the neighborhood opossum. The South Lake Police Department had shared security camera footage of that theft on social media. So, apparently it's a common thing. It's not your usual typical porch pirate kind of situation going on. Instead, it's, animal being a porch pirate. So it's a little twist, and, that's why it's in this bizarre one.
Yeah, it's definitely not your typical porch pirate situation at all. And I've always found, these little trash pandas cute and adorable as hell. So, I wouldn't be too mad if I left it, on the porch and it got into it. They're just hungry, and it's not like the, raccoon or the opossum in the other story was really trying to be, troublesome or problematic or anything. It's not like it was trying to do anything that would harm anyone. It was just hungry, and it's kind of a little twist on it, because usually when you think of porch pirate, you think of your next door neighbor Karen coming over and stealing your stuff, and instead
You get this, yeah, exactly. It's a pretty interesting story for sure.
So you would never put these two together of ice skating and jump rope, but this ice skater broke the World Guinness World Records for jumping rope. So you wouldn't expect, the two to be combined too, if you will. But this championing ice skater from Hungary took her jump rope out on the ice and broke a World Guinness with her skates on.
Okay, so she was on the ice doing, ice skating she usually does. And she was jump roping on the ice. I didn't even know there was a World Guinness Records for that kind of particular situation, where somebody was, jump roping on ice while ice skates were on. I didn't even know that was a world record.
Oh, definitely. Like what you were saying, Kai, like you wouldn't expect that to be a world record, if you will. And I mean, it's very interesting of what some of the World Guinness records are because you wouldn't expect certain things to be in the World Guinness Book of Records. And you're like, whoa, this is a record? You mean that means somebody like had to have done it the first time and then somebody had to break that record. So that had to be more than one person that would do it. And so it's really surprising and shocking when you find out what there are World Guinness records for.
Oh, definitely. Like certain things that you wouldn't think that there'd be world records for. You're like, oh wow, this is a world record. But this champion ice skater from Hungary took her jump rope out on the ice and broke a World Guinness record with her skates on. Esther, I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but we'll leave the links, at least we try to, who earned her titles as both the junior and senior national champion in Hungary, went out on the ice in Sun Valley, Idaho, and performed 136 rope skips in a single minute. So she jumped 136 times on ice. So that's really impressive. The feat earned her the record for most rope skips on ice skates in 1 minute, handily defeating the goal of 45 set by Guinness World Records. She said, I want to inspire other skaters and performers to dream big and show them that everything is possible if we are brave enough to do it, she told World Guinness Records. I would like to expand the world of figure skating shows with a new spectacular acrobatic element. And so, yeah, it's just very fascinating, this record that she set. Like you guys were saying, you wouldn't expect this to be, something somebody would do, but she did it, and it's pretty cool.
So, recently in Kentucky, this man shared video of the moment this black bear approached his driveway and popped this confetti-filled balloon. So he had this confetti-filled balloon, right? And it was to celebrate the high school football season. And apparently, this black bear, that was curious, stumbled upon his property, and he first at one point attempted to bite one of the balloons, I guess to try to eat it, and it caused it to pop and covered the bear in confetti. The confused bear considered the other balloons for a moment, right, but ultimately left without popping them. Wildlife officials are warning residents in areas frequented by bears to beware of increased activities as the animals venture out in search for food for preparation for their winter hibernation, because winter's, near. But I found the story, interesting, fitting with the Bizarre Ones podcast, because you wouldn't expect that kind of thing to be, the natural kind of thing that would happen, but it did. And this bear was caught on camera popping the confetti balloon, and the bear's like, yeah, I don't know what this is, but I'm not down with it. I'm leaving, So it's actually a pretty cool, interesting story, if you will. So that's what I wanted to share with this particular article, if you will. So this next strange true story, this wild boar crashed through sliding doors and loitered inside of this person's house. They also caught it on camera. Sheriff deputies were summoned to a Florida home where a wild boar crashed through a sliding glass door to wreak havoc on the inside of the house. The Lee County Sheriff's Office said on social media that deputies responded to a not-so-typical burglary at home in 3rd Street East in Lehigh Acres. The body camera footage shows a wild boar charging at deputies as they attempt to wrangle the porcupine perpetrator inside. Porcine perpetrator inside. Deputies learned the suspect went hog wild, busting through a sliding glass door. We were able to remove the boar from the house, sending him snout and about where he belongs, the woods.
So you know that old saying where it's like a bull in a china shop, right? Instead of like a bull in a china shop, it should be like a boar within a house.
Exactly what you were saying, Tonya. And Kai, that is a crazy story. I wonder exactly how the boar stumbled upon the property, if you will, and got to that particular situation. He was just curious, I guess, of what was going on in the house.
So I found another story, right, of animal once again, getting into the house and whatnot. This black bear was spotted loitering in an apartment, stairwell, if you will.
And I bet the residents, when they're asked about the bear, they were like, I barely knew him.
I guess it's my turn to laugh. Probably. So these residents of this Florida apartment complex reported an unwelcome new neighbor lingering in the stairwells. A black bear. People living in Westbrook apartments in Orlando reported seeing a black bear wandering the premises this week, and the bear was caught on camera loitering in a stairwell area. One person said, "When I saw it, the bear was coming out, and the bear was walking normally, just walking." Resident Irma Rodriguez told WOFL TV, "I was surprised because, like bears, I said, 'Oh, how beautiful,' and I ran upstairs with my dog."
I mean, she said how beautiful, but like she took off. So, I mean, it sounds like she was a little bit afraid, if you will. And it was like more of a sarcastic remark with a, "Oh, how beautiful." And then she runs upstairs.
Oh, definitely. Like, she was like, "Oh, how beautiful," and then she runs upstairs with her dog. So, I mean, obviously she was a little frightened. I mean, it was a bear. Bear sightings have also been reported at the nearby Maribel Woods condos. Well, I mean, the condos are near the woods anyways, if you will. So, I mean, obviously that's where you're going to spot bears, is near the woods. But anyways, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission said it is monitoring the situations. Officials said it's not unusual for young bears to wander in search of new territories after leaving their mothers. So, I mean, they're like, "Oh, well, this is a common thing, bears, wandering off, because now they're on their own, and they're just trying to find where they're going to live and whatnot." But yeah, they said they were, that staff with the bear management program are aware of the reports of the bear at this apartment complex and have set traps to try and relocate the bear. Humane traps, obviously. The FWC said in a statement provided to WFTV, staff are also canvassing the area to provide guidance to residents on best practices to help prevent conflicts with bears and identify potential attractants that should be secured to prevent bears and other wildlife from lingering in the area. I mean, the best way is not to, just be aggressive, just, leave. I guess. I'm not sure. I'm not a bear expert, but I would assume that, not to cause provocation and try to fight the bear. But it is Florida, so, I mean, somebody might just actually try to fight the bear. I mean, we've all heard the stories about Florida, so somebody might actually try to wrestle the bear and be like, "I'm going to show the bear who's boss," and whatnot, and find out that the bear's boss.
So, Kai and Tonya, you know how, painful walking on Legos can be, right?
Yeah, definitely. I know how painful walking on Legos can be. Walking on Legos is just by far one of the worst things to walk on in your house, almost right next to those sticker things that are here in Texas.
I would say number one of things that are horrible to walk on are those little thistle plants, then those sticker things, and then Legos would be number three on the things of walking on that you don't want to walk on with your bare feet.
Well, guys, there's this person who broke a world record when it comes to that. This New Zealand woman showed the strength of her soles when she ran over barefoot over 1,000 meters of loose Lego bricks in 24.75 seconds. Gabriel Walt broke the Guinness World Record for the fastest 100 meters barefoot on Lego bricks when she attempted the 328-foot sprint in Christchurch of New Zealand.
That sounds painful. Why is this even a thing? Why would you? I mean, I guess people run over hot coals. So, I mean, it's not, and that's even worse than walking all over Lego bricks. So, I mean, I guess I shouldn't be surprised that there's a World Guinness Book of Records of, running over a bunch of Legos and that there's a contest, if you will, to do such a thing. But wow.
Oh, and I bet that if she had any kids when she got home, she's like, "Your Legos better be picked up," because mommy just was at a thing where she had to step on a lot of Legos, and mommy is not doing that again. Her feet had to be in pain. Maybe she's just kind of used to that pain. Who knows?
Oh, exactly. I would definitely feel the same way. If I was in her position and I had kids, and when I got home, there's Legos better be picked up after I just had walked over Legos, because the track was covered in 661 pounds of Lego bricks donated by Imagination Station, which is a New Zealand nonprofit that uses Lego pieces for robotics and mechanics education. She spent 2 months barefoot to build calluses in preparation for attending a wedding without any shoes. She told World Guinness Records, "I am proud to push myself to new limits." The record-keeping organization said the mother of two has probably stepped on the plastic bricks more times than she can count. So she's already walked on a bunch of Legos before. And in the video, World Guinness Record said, "In our video, Gabrielle is wearing sunglasses, presumably to hide her tears from the pain of standing on all that Lego." So she's considering an attempt more Lego-based Guinness World Records, but for building rather than running. She's not doing the running thing ever again properly.
So this next story, in Pennsylvania, a truckload of hot dogs has spilled across a busy road in Pennsylvania. A mechanical problem at the truck scraped along a concrete divider, ripping the trailer open, scattering the hot dogs across the highway. And it was the worst Friday commute that motorists in Shrewsbury had to contend with for years.
So I'm guessing that the crews had to muster up the courage to begin their morning rush for the hour cleanup and didn't mince their words.
Mustered up their courage. I'm pretty sure a lot of them have not seen that many wieners ever. Hey, don't worry, they're all a bunch of wieners.
Unfortunately, once the hot dogs, fell on the road, it was all garbage because it was pretty warm out at the time, so they were no longer, usable. And the person said, I can tell you personally, hot dogs are very slippery, he added. I did not know that. I mean, I kind of knew that. I mean, have you ever tried to put the hot dog in the bun and it slips out of your hand? You're like, well, they want my hot dog. A front end loader was used to scoop up the wieners and drop them into a dump truck to be disposed of.
So I bet that, anytime you think of kayaking, you don't think of somebody using a kayak that's made from mushrooms. But this person crossed 26 miles in a kayak made from mushrooms and lived to tell the story. Sam Shoemaker's record-setting voyage shows the promise and limits of fungi as a plastic alternative. On a clear, still morning in early August, Sam Shoemaker launched in his kayak into the waters of Catalina Island and began paddling. His goal was to traverse the open ocean to San Pedro, just south of Los Angeles, 26.4 miles away. But upon a closer look, his kayak was no ordinary kayak. Brownish yellow and bumpy in texture, it had been made, or rather grown entirely made from mushrooms. His journey, if successful, would mark the world's longest open water journey in a kayak built from this unique material. With his phone, GoPro camera, walkie-talkie, and a compass, he, set off. And so suddenly, he actually, accomplished his mission, and now it's on gallery, if you will. And I mean, I think that's really cool, and it shows that there are alternatives to plastic. And, the more we research into this, the more we might not have to use these same materials. I don't know if that's, as efficient, if the future is mushroom to use for kayaks, but I mean, I find this really bizarre and strange, but also cool. And I mean, Schumacher's wary of the promise that mushrooms will revolutionize the industry or anything like that, because it required him a year's worth of time and resources to produce just one. And that's really slow and heavier than a store-bought kayak. But he says it opens the mind to other alternative possibilities of transportation in the ocean or just transportation in general.
So this story is about a man who was driving under the influence, but the reason it's in this strange, true news story of the Bizarre Ones podcast is because so he was arrested on the suspicion of driving under the influence of alcohol, but what he crashed into when he was arrested was the public safety building. The Public Safety Center in Reno. This happened in Reno, in Nevada. And he obviously wasn't practicing public safety, and he crashed into the Public Safety Center while driving under the influence. And I find that ironic and strange and kind of funny in a way, because he was driving unsafe and ran into a place that teaches people about car safety or public safety in general.
Oh, definitely, Tonya, because out of all the places he could crash into, out of everywhere he could crash into, the only thing that would have been more ironic of him driving under the influence and running his car into the Department of Public Safety or the Public Safety Center or whatever it was if he ran his car into the police station or the hospital. That's the only way it could even be even more ironic and more crazy of what happened with him.
I mean, maybe he'll learn something from this. Maybe he'll attend the public safety course at that public safety center and realize that driving under the influence is never a good idea. Nobody should drink and drive. It is one of the most dangerous things you can do, is driving under the influence of anything, whether it's driving under the influence of alcohol or any substance-altering substance. You should not drive under the influence. Just stay home if you're going to do such a thing like that, and don't endanger the public. But it is kind of crazy and strange that he ran into a place that would most likely teach him not to do the very thing he was doing. That is literally the definition of irony.
So, inhabitants of an apartment block in Bavaria, southern Germany, who called police to investigate this relentless buzzing of their doorbells late at night, were surprised to find the culprit was not a teenage prankster, as they suspected, but a slug. Yeah, you heard that right. The slug had been sliding up and down the bell plate, creating havoc in the building. And angry residents kept on getting into their beds long after midnight when they could not sleep because of the noise. And they were like, "Arr!" And after first, they suspected the so-called Klingelstreich, or bell prank, a sometimes popular pastime among German youths. Ding-dong ditch, knock a door, run, or knock down ginger, as it's variously referred to in English. It typically involves children or youth ringing on doorbell and then running away before they are caught. But instead, the ringing continued and continued and continued. And they're like, you know what? That's it. We're going to call the police. And literally, it was just a snail.
Wow, so it was just this slug sliding up and down, leaving a slime trail, ringing their doorbells. And this whole time they're like, damn it, those kids won't quit ringing the fucking doorbell. Somebody stop them. And they're like, you know what, I'm going to call the police. And then they call the police and the police come and the police are like, oh, it's just a naked snail, aka a slug.
Yep, Tonya, it was just a slug, going up and down, ringing the doorbells. And this one person said, we'd gone to bed, but we don't tend to answer the door after 10 p.m. So when the bell rang, I tried to ignore it. I thought it might be the kids from the abandoned house over the road. Lisa, 30, a shop sales assistant, told the tabloid Blue. But then my sister-in-law, who lives upstairs, called and asked whether our bell was ringing, as hers wouldn't stop. And it kept ringing even as we telephoned. And despite the fact no one had seen in the door, we became really uneasy. And that's when we decided to call the police. And of course, that's when they realized, oh, it's none other than a slug.
We did have more news stories planned for this particular podcast for the season finale of the Bizarre Ones to end season 1. But I can't find some of the articles that we had originally had as well. Like, we all had, a bunch of articles on here and whatnot. And it was saved on my computer and we just can't find it. But we hope this is like a pretty good enough episode for the Bizarre Ones podcast.
And in all honesty, if I knew that he had lost some of the episodes, if you will, not episodes, the articles. Like, if I would have known that he, didn't have all the articles, I would have bought some more and wrote some more in my notebook to bring for this episode of this podcast, but I didn't know that at the time.
And yeah, I didn't realize I didn't have them still saved, but yeah, we would have done a lot more, if you will.
And I didn't realize that that he didn't have them saved anymore. And I had a few others myself written in the notebook that I usually bring when I'm able to show up for the podcast and we don't do my part over the phone or the other various ways that we do it. And I would have brought it, but I didn't have mine either. So that's like basically it for this episode of this podcast. I've been your host, Diamond Ash.
And I've been your other co-host, Tonya Kitsune. Peace out.
And I've been your main host, Lacrosse, and this has been another Bizarre Ones podcast, and this is the last episode for this season. That's been in, I think, at least 12 episodes for those of you that are listening to this on Spotify or on YouTube. For those of you listening on SoundClick, it's kind of been split into multiple sections, but technically it's been 12 episodes, even though I had to split it into segments, if you will, when I went to upload it. But yeah, that's it we have for this year. We will come back next year. We're shooting for January to start the podcast back up. It won't be so much strange news stories. It'll be like the other episodes that weren't the strange news stories. It'll be more of that kind of content. We get about like 4 of them written, I think, if you will. And of course, it's going to try to be me, Tonya Kitsune, and Diamond Ash, again, if you will. The first few, though, of next year might just be me if I'm not able to get, work the schedule around to where it can be the 3 of us. Or there might be other people if I'm able to get other people to join me and the others here on this podcast, if you will. But anyways, thank you for listening to the podcast, and we will see you all next year. Anyways, if you're listening to this on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell to be notified of future episodes of the Bizarre Ones podcast or any of the various other content that we have here on the Bizarre Ones Studios YouTube page. If you're listening to this on Spotify or in SoundClick, make sure you continue to follow and however you subscribe to the podcast on these other various platforms that this podcast is available on. Anyways, thank you for watching. I've been your host, Kai. Until next time, stay bizarre.